Matt Ryan here, and before we get started with this awesome A7FL podcast, we want to remind you, yes, you, that you can invest in the A7FL. That's right, you have just about a month left to invest in the American Sevens Football League on Start Engine. For more information on how you can get started and different ways that you can invest in the future of football, go to startengine.com/A7FL. That again is startengine.com/A7FL. Now enjoy this A7FL podcast.
Welcome to the self-proclaimed second best podcast of the A7FL. This is the A7FL other side of the ball. My name is Casey Cox, the host of this podcast. Alongside me, the division owner of Nevada, as always, Double D Derek Duncan. How are you doing tonight?
What's up? What's up? I am doing very well. I had a little funkiness this morning when I woke up. I had either a hair or a bug or something that crawled into my right eye, and I was dealing with craziness all day, but I had 3 people that weren't in the office this morning, so I had to go in and toughed it out, and now I'm good. Just got a little bit of a runny nose, and I'm ready to rock and roll. Slightly down, 92%, ready to rock. How about you, buddy?
I am doing excellent and great now that all the internet issues and technical difficulties are out of the way. We have had storms for probably the last 12 hours here in New Mexico, so internet's been in and out. So finally glad the storms have stopped just in time for the podcast tonight.
Well, God loves football.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
And that giggling voice in the background, who we got there, Casey?
That is division manager Kelly Hurst. How are you doing tonight, Kelly?
I am very well. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I'm doing good, doing good.
Good.
And then our other guest of the night is Dario Herrera, the guy over marketing in Nevada. How are you doing tonight, Dario?
You know, I'm going to spare you the health record and rundown. I am damn glad to be here, and I can't wait to talk football and, to just take a moment to say, what Derek is doing is incredible. And the vision that he has, his ability to execute, how it all started, the product on the field, the product on TV, the product on social media, how players are rallying behind it, how their families, supporters, followers are rallying behind it. I mean, I wouldn't rather be anywhere else right now except maybe playing A7FL Nevada football. That's
what's up. And I'm probably going to hold you to that, Dario. I'm pimping you out as a quarterback quite a bit. We'll see if anybody latches on. They'd be stupid not to, let me tell you. So before we ask you guys to tell you a little bit about yourself, I'm just going to kind of recap how you guys came to the A7FL for me. And then Casey's got some questions for you guys about, what brought you to the league besides, my reaching out and those things. So let's start with Kelly, because my relationship with Kelly is as long as her tenure with the A7FL. I was hearing Donnie Budak, the coach from the Insomniacs, talk about this wonderful lady he calls his sister, but she's entirely too pretty to be his sister. And he's just telling me, man, this girl just knows football. She's a rock star. You need to talk to her. I'm like, okay, well, I'll talk to her. What's she going to do? And he's like, whatever you need her to do. I said, okay. So finally we had the division manager position kind of come free when we started in the off season. I said, you know what? Now's the time for me to reach out and see what this Kelly girl's about. And to my benefit and to speak to your capabilities, Kelly, you've been an absolute rock star for us. So thank you for that. So Kelly comes to us from a referral from the Insomniacs. My story with Dario is a long and storied one. Dario was one of the first quarterbacks I ever played against at a high level in what we called the A, or the higher division within flag football back. Dario, we talking late 90s, right? Late 90s, early 2000s. So I was a B player when I first started in the league. We competed for a championship our first season, and the guys that we were playing with, some of them played on an A squad, and they invited me up to play A. But instead of having me be the quarterback, I played defensive end. And the very first time we played Dario and the Falcons, he came around the edge and I broke down to grab his flag, and Dario forgot we were playing flag football and ran my punk ass over. And then stood over me talking shit. His boys had to grab him and pull him back. Like, no, it's cool, it's cool. The funny thing was, after that game, we looked at each other and we're like, okay, you're the real deal. You're the real deal. We're good. And we've been, associates and very friendly since then, but our friendship blossomed over football over the course of the 10 to 15 years, over social media, staying in touch. We ran in some of the same circles outside of football. And then when the opportunity came where someone sent a message to me via Instagram that said, hey, we can get your Instagram followers up to 10,000 or something like that. Dario reached out and goes, don't you dare do that. Come talk to me. Let me show you how to do this the right way. And then through that conversation, he's like, dude, just hire me to do your marketing. This is stupid. And I said, okay. Does that sound pretty fair, Dario?
Flags on that play, Derek, or no?
Yeah.
You did? All right.
I was a flag grabber.
Well, that's why I was talking trash, because normally guys that run over didn't pull the flag. So
No. I'm going to absorb the hit so I can make sure I got two hands on the flags. But so Casey, you had some deeper questions you wanted to ask them that were kind of more holistically involved about their thoughts coming into the league, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I kind of want to start with Dario because he's over the marketing. I kind of want to get your background, how you got started in marketing to begin with, and then how that led you into the A7FL with meeting up with Derek Duncan and becoming the marketing over Nevada.
Yeah, I feel like I've been in marketing my entire life, and started probably when I ran for office at a young age in Nevada. I was 22. I ran for the state legislature, and I did most of my own stuff, wrote all my content for the most part, and I had to market myself. And same when I ran for the county commission. And professionally, I've been doing marketing, I would say, since 1997. So that tells you how old I am a little bit. I know there's no video, but if you saw my gray beard, you'd know that it matches, up pretty good. I started really kind of expanding into digital branding and marketing in 2010 when I had the opportunity through a former relationship to work with Pitbull, the music superstar. And worked with him. That led to another opportunity. That led to working with Daughtry. That led to working with Lil Wayne to help him build Truck Fit. That led to working with the brand that was built as a legacy to Notorious B.I.G., which is Invisible Bully. That led to working with the American Music Awards, the Guggenheim, the Clark Productions, and pretty much every major music label in the country. And what's exciting to me about this opportunity is that the A7FL has the same components of those kinds of clients. They're substantive and entertaining, and they speak to a huge segment of America that wants authenticity, that wants something real, doesn't want something overly produced or phony. And that's what I felt about the A7FL. And after I talked to Derek about it, when I reached out to him and learned more about what he was doing and his vision for it, I had to sign up and really work with him and the entire team to help this grow and give it the eyeballs it deserves.
Absolutely. And
Well, before you go away, I just want to. So Dario, you said in '97 you didn't have as much gray hair and there was no video, and I think that's because video didn't actually come out until after you started playing.
That's probably true. Listen, there was no social media, or a lot of people would have been embarrassed by some of the things, including me sometimes. Because I've been known to pitch a fit here and there and do my thing out there. So I think probably for the benefit of my reputation and that's taken hits over the years, it's a blessing that social media didn't exist when I played flag football back then.
Yeah, could you imagine the, I guess, viral videos that would have occurred on some of those games, on some of those nights when I tell people about what our flag league used to be in the late 90s, right? It was one of the most
league.
Yeah, our flag league. It was full contact flag, but beyond what people would even play now. The smash mouth flag guys, like it was as long as you weren't elbowing somebody or punching someone, everything else was good to go. And everybody knew it. Everybody loved it. We welcomed we seeked the contact. We weren't trying to run around anybody. We were trying to go through people, as Dario did to me. And it made for a fantastic environment where people, if you actually get the machismo out and you get to use it, you don't want to fight as much. If somebody runs you over, you're like, okay, I got you. I'll get you next time. Whereas if someone does it when it's not full contact, you're like, whoa, that's not part of this game, bro. What are you doing? And it starts fights. And I think that same energy is what makes the A7FL so much better and why we have so few altercations on the field for players, because everybody is getting that machismo out on every single play.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. From what I have seen from a broadcast standpoint, I would agree with that. Absolutely.
All right. So Casey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step all over you, but I had to get that in there.
Oh no, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. But fans, let's say here that Dario is over marketing. Dario, can you give us kind of a day in the life of Dario doing marketing, what that entails, what that looks like for you? And has that, to piggyback off that, has that gotten busier for you as this league has developed and this division has become bigger?
Day in the life is interesting because every day is different. And every day comes a new opportunity to tell a story to a different audience, maybe from a different perspective, but without divulging a major project we're working on now. For example, I got the opportunity to work with Derek and Kelly to build a deck to present to some very smart people who have a lot of access to events in Las Vegas, Nevada, and really the state of Nevada as a whole that can broadcast this nationally to basically combine the power of music and football, in particular A7FL and indoor football, and put a concert around that to get some visibility and attract people to the game and of course to music. There's a huge intersection between football and music, always have been, always will be. So that's one example. Helping some of the new teams work on their branding, their logos, for example, is another thing that we've been working on lately, and we've got a couple cool things to help unveil over the next couple of days. Obviously monitoring conversations on social media, and really what's been awesome to see is how this stuff kind of feeds itself organically. A lot of clients that I work with, we gotta spend a ton of money on paid media to get people to talk about it, to get them excited, to get them engaged, to reach them. Here, we don't have that challenge. Here, people are genuinely excited to participate in the product. People are genuinely excited when they see the product. It meets its promise clearly. And it's just a matter of getting, more people to have visibility into what A7FL football is. And so that's basically my day-to-day. It's different every day. Some days it can be high-level strategic. Other days it's talking shit on Twitter. And other days it's creating graphics, and on some days it's doing whatever Derek tells me to do, and sometimes talking him out of stuff, that he wants to do, So every day is different, and I welcome every opportunity. And the more I learn about, not just the brand of football and the style of football, but the people involved, the coaches, the managers, the team owners, the players, the players' families. There's a lot of interesting stories here, a lot of interesting people, real people, human beings who work for a living, who love football, and they're chasing that dream. And the A7FL is giving them a platform to do that and entertaining people along the way.
It was a hell of an answer.
Absolutely. Yes, that was hell of an answer and awesome. I love it.
He's taking a lot of what I have to say already. Like, no fair, Dario. You're like,
right.
Hey, they asked me the question first, Kelly. I'm sorry. Blame Casey. Blame the white guy.
I love it. Absolutely.
I'm just going to talk it up to age before beauty, and then that way we can get away with
it. Right. And Dario, before I get off you and go over to Kelly, I will say, I I've seen you and I've seen Corey Hammond. I don't know who has more gray hair, you or Corey Hammond's, but I think Corey Hammond's may have more gray hair than you.
Yeah,
So-
Corey's got it up top. Dario's got it in the beard.
Yep.
Dario's like me.
Yep.
The silver fox down below, and Corey's pepper gray, like frost.
You don't know me
Frosted
that well,
tips.
Eric. I mean, come on.
What?
Let's
Down
keep it
below the
above the
chin, not
belt.
below the belt, bro. Not below
Yeah,
the belt.
let's keep it above the belt, bro. Come on.
Now,
Yeah,
I only have
you're
to
right.
throw. I only have to throw that in.
Come on,
'cause he
Casey
did
being
tell me
on
that he
me,
does
you below the
listen.
belt. Come on, guys. Get out of here.
I only
Oh,
had
good
to
Lord.
throw that jab in there because Corey did say that he does listen and has been listening and loves what we're doing over here. So I had to throw a little jab at Corey. I
That's-
actually got to talk to him on the phone the other day, and he's a very great guy. Had a very had an intelligent conversation. Had a lot to say about me. Had a lot of input to help me out, and yeah, it was a great conversation. And I'm glad that I got that connection finally as well.
Yeah, he's a special cat.
Yes, he is. And so now we're gonna go over to Kelly, the division manager. Kelly Hurst, give us a little bit about your background and what brought you into the A7FL.
Well, Coach Donnie of the Insomniacs we've been longtime friends. We've worked together on a couple different football projects. And he, oddly enough, somebody had hit me up on LinkedIn asking me about A7, telling me about the league, that they were looking for managers. And this was quite some time ago. And I took it to Donnie and said, hey, have you heard about this? And he said no. And within 3 months, he's with the Insomniacs. And I'm like, dude, this is the same thing I brought to you. And he's like, oh, no, this is different. This is different. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, no, it's different because it's going to be done right. And I thought, and Donnie and I are very honest with, I would say painfully honest with one another on certain things. And football is one of them. And so I just kind of sat back and watched. And as he would share with me, one thing I loved about the A7, even as a spectator, is kind of like touching on what Dario said, is that we're delivering to the athletes and to the families and to the fans exactly what we say we're going to. So ultimately, after the season ended, Donnie's like, I have to figure out a way to get you here. This is the real thing. And so that's kind of ultimately what drew me into the division. As a fan, I was watching kind of all along. It's funny how it comes full circle. Mark Cooper he and I have been friends for some time on Facebook. And so I had been watching A7 with him and watching him as he was playing. And so I knew a little bit about the league. I just didn't really realize it was coming out west.
So real quick, for
then-
everyone in the group who doesn't know Mark Cooper is formerly of the Orlando Ghosts, the Florida division, who has signed with the Insomniacs and is coming to Vegas.
Right.
Yep,
So
that's what I thought that was. Yep.
it was amazing for me to see it come full circle, which even told me more so I'm in the right place to be for so many reasons.
So Kelly, what you didn't touch on was your football pedigree and background. That's kind of what I was hoping would come out of that. Like obviously, and thank you for sharing what brought you to the A7FL, but
Absolutely.
what brought us to you was your resume and your beyond your capabilities, what you had already done before we found you.
So way back in 2002, I had been introduced to minor league, semi-pro, whatever you want to call it, 11-man ball.
Back when
And-
Dario had black hair.
My hair is
Yep.
still black. My beard is
And so I kind of ran I was a fan. I would volunteer. I would do different things. And eventually I was approached by a coach, and he said, I am not going to have a team unless you're my manager. And I said, why? He's like, because I see what you do as a volunteer. You need to do this or I'm not going to do it. And I said, okay. And he goes, just come out to our practice and see what's up. So I very naively show up to practice, and he turns around, he says, hey guys, here's our new manager, Kelly. And I was like, you did not do this to me. Well, I stuck with it. Ultimately, kind of bounced around in management on teams, was given an ownership opportunity in a team as partners. That was not for me because I like certain things run certain ways. And so I was given by that very same coach an opportunity to own my own team, which was the California Sharks. And I was able to, in 2.5 seasons, well, 2.5 years. So it was actually 3 seasons because we did 2 fall, 1 spring. We picked up a championship. Ultimately, we went to 8-man. So I've kind of toyed around with some 8-man. I've managed women's football. And so I've kind of done a variety of different things, everything from volunteer to ownership to paying bills to taping up players to getting sponsors. I mean, I've kind of been all over the board as far as what hat to wear. The only thing I've never done is coached, and the only thing I've never done is played because I have about 0 athletic ability. But I just was able to I took it on as a business. I looked at it as a business, and eventually that landed my team the opportunity to play at AT&T Stadium. And in 2019, the Sharks were able to play, unfortunately, in Cowboy Stadium because I'm not a Cowboy fan. But nonetheless, we were able to play in front of the couple CFL scouts, IFL scouts. And so it's just been a labor of love working from, picking up trash and picking up tape and doing all the way through, sending out film for guys, talking to scouts, holding combines. That's been also a full circle.
Thank you. That's what I wanted everybody to hear. But you left out one little piece. What is your affiliation with the CFL?
I am in the process of becoming a certified player agent. And technically, they don't call it a player agent, but that's what we call it here. I just need to finish. I actually just need to take my test, and so that's what I will be on that side. But on the other side, I have a variety of different relationships with a couple teams, most strongly with the BC Lions. But here shortly, we'll be able to actually take players and discuss contracts and do different things with the CFL for our guys.
Awesome.
There's the bomb drop I was looking for. Thank you very much.
Awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Every time we come on this podcast, it's new affiliations, new friendships, new partnerships that we're trying to develop that's just helping this division grow. And I love it every time I hear it.
And the last 3 podcasts we've done, there's been 3 bombs drop, and that's the first one so far. So I wonder what the other 2 are going to be tonight. So, Casey, is that all you got, or you got more in the can, buddy?
What do you have for him, Derek?
All right. So, sticking with you, Kelly, let's talk about how things are going for you as a division manager. What has been, I guess, the toughest task for you that you're able to share on air without getting yourself in financial trouble?
So I would say there's 2 pieces, but they're almost ultimately in a way they kind of relate to one another, is that in the past, and it's not specifically related to Nevada, but in a lot of minor league football, there's not always been, let's say, I don't want to say that there's been bad business, but there's not necessarily been the best business practices. And so coming in with a division and an owner and a league that not only prides himself personally in his professional life, but also here on this side of his life in football, I get a little bit of resistance sometimes because people are leery of an alternative pro sport, a minor league sport, developmental sport, just because of, maybe bad things they've heard or maybe things that they've experienced. The good part is that there is a track record. There is support to be able to kind of combat whatever may have been out there could be years ago, could be recent, and it could be just things that people have in their head, but nonetheless, there's a little bit of pushback sometimes, but I'm armed with really great tools because the league is doing what it says it's going to do. So that would be one side that comes with a little bit of stress, if you will. And the other side is kind of retraining the minds that this is not maybe football they've had before. And if that be coaches, if that be players, because the standards are here, and the standards are kept high, and the standards are that of a professional organization. And so sometimes the retraining process takes a little bit longer because we've all gotten into habits. And so I think those are probably, and they're basically the same thing. It's just one relating on the, facility side or maybe dealing with sponsors, stuff like that. And then the other side of the coin would be coaches, players. Kind of the same topic though.
So I understand the processes that you're talking about, the retraining the mind, because it's my experience with semi-pro is the goal that they were trying to reach for all the leagues that I was involved in was not perfection. It was good enough, right? So good enough is good enough. And as long as we've got this good enough, we'll be fine. What I've noticed within the A7FL before I even got involved is they understand good enough is going to get them through the day, but their aspirations are to lift the level to be perfect and exactly what the fan experience wants to be, exactly what the player experience wants to be, exactly what the family experience, coach experience. Like they're always pushing towards being better. Where good enough is never good enough except for to get us through today.
Well, and
Absolutely.
sorry, Casey, didn't mean to cut you off there. What I have experienced also is that the semi-pro, minor league, developmental, like whatever label they're putting on it now is sold to the players or to the sponsors or to the fields or, what have you, that it's going to be that good enough, over the top, you're going to get looks, you're going to get these things. And in reality, behind the scenes, that's where the division is of, okay, no, it's just good enough. We just need to chase this ring. And so I think that's where that kind of disconnection comes when you are actually really talking to professional people. They've really been sold the same story. The difference is we're actually delivering it with standards of players who are better than good enough.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I guess I hadn't thought it like that. So that's pretty cool. So
I was going to say
from a broad. Go ahead.
I was going to say from a broadcaster standpoint, I've seen, and even a fan standpoint, I've seen some of these other semi-pro leagues that, we talk about that have been, their goal seems to be just to be good enough. And their players also, their goal seems to be just to be good enough. They don't really seem to want to become more talented. They don't want to seem to become better. They're just more about, well, here's my 30 minutes or here's my hour of fame on TV. Let's show off as big as we can. Whereas our guys are going out and showing off by showing their talent, not by trying to make big hits and big moves and big plays. They're letting their talent show off for them instead of their personalities.
And what I want to make a point here that I think is really though important. Semi-pro is a necessity for some players. This, semi-pro ball has saved guys' lives because it gives them an outlet. It gives them a place to be once or twice a week, to be with their friends, and they're not, getting into toxic behaviors. They're not getting into these things. So I really believe that recreational ball has a place. I see the value in it. That's where my fandom started, if you will. That's where I learned the ins and outs. So I don't want to take anything away from semi-pro on that side. I really believe that recreational ball for some of these young men and these older men as well, and the women. I mean, I love women's football. Trust me, I'm a huge fan of women's tackle football. So I see the therapy side in it for some of them. I just wish on the administrative side that it wasn't convoluted kind of the way it is. And if everybody goes in knowing we're doing rec ball and it's good, it's to be good enough and just keep you out of trouble and do these things, then if we could get that on both sides, admin and on the field, that would be the best. But I really want to give value to the teams that give these guys an outlet. And like I say, I know many people who've been on a football field rather than running the streets, and maybe the game they showed up to that night saved their life. So I really want to take note to that as well.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to take away from that. Let's not get it twisted. There is a place for the player within our league, within every league, which is the steady Eddie, the guy that just shows up to practice every week. He's there to do a job. He's not trying to elevate his game, not trying to make a league. He's there to blow off some steam, hang with his boys, maybe win a game, have a good time, and that's the extent of it. And those people are just as valuable to our league and to minor league and rec and semi-pro, and as an absolute necessity. So I don't want to make sure we're not twisting the things. I'm just saying the semi-pro brand, to Kelly's point, a lot of times it's rec, but they're billing it as semi-pro, and that's where lines get blurred, and people who are trying to make a name for themselves are stuck in a level with people who are not. and because they're labeling it improperly, it causes some angst within their organization, within their teams.
Plus, the other part, there's already a league that plays tackle football that's on TV and generates excitement, and that's the NFL. What's great about the A7FL is there's no other non-padded tackle football anywhere.
Exactly.
Except for rugby, but it's not American football, right?
It's the game we grew up playing.
Exactly. Even I grew up playing it on the elementary playground. I mean,
before flag,
that's what I love about it.
Before high school football, there was pickup ball, and pickup ball. In my neighborhood, we had basically two-hand touch on the street, and we had this strip of grass that was pushed up against a fence that encroached on this German lady's house. Her name was Frida. And she did not like us playing there, but we knew her schedule for her nap. We knew her schedule for her grocery shopping. So when she was either napping or grocery shopping, we were playing tackle in that little strip, and more often than not, the plays were designed to go on the grass so we could play tackle. Let's take this. Yes, every league, every brand of football has its purpose. What's exciting about the A7FL, what separates the A7FL, is that there's nothing else like it. And it's safer.
Absolutely.
So you get the excitement of the football we grew up playing. You get the excitement of the hits. You get the excitement of the showmanship. You get the excitement of the antics. I mean, I've seen backflips up the sideline. I've seen, more celebrations there than God knows where. But there's still a seriousness to it, a substantive to it, and there's a great amount of attention played to not just the product in the field, but how we protect the players.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
That combination is what makes the A7FL to me stand out in a way that no other tackle league, padded or unpadded, no other flag football league or indoor league. And I love indoor football. It's a lot of fun. It's fast paced. It's got its own kind of value to it for entertainment and football. But the combination that we have here is special.
So Dario, since you've got the floor, I did want to ask you a similar question. What has been your toughest thing that you've had to deal with in generating stuff or dealing with A7 versus some of the things you've done historically?
I wouldn't say there's challenges, really. I think the biggest part is containing my excitement. And wanting things to happen faster, because I know the game really well and I've seen it, and I've talked to players who have discovered or rediscovered their passion for the game. And some guys I played football with are out there without pads playing A7FL, and I'm really in a hurry to share the impact of it and the excitement of it. So I think there is a little bit of a stigma. If you're not the NFL, if you're not college ball, what are you? So, that's something I think, is going to change gradually. You're not going to change that overnight, but I think Kelly did a good point of addressing, some of the credibility issues and some of the, professionalism issues, but here we have that different. I mean, we have very specific branding standards. The folks who are behind the A7FL at the top are very meticulous about how the brand is put out there, team names, team likeness, content's reviewed before it's approved. The branding guidelines they develop are among the most substantive and strict that I've seen, and that tells me these guys know what they're doing. So I think more than anything, probably my biggest challenge is containing my excitement and allowing myself to be patient a little bit as we grow this under the right foundation, so that as we do and we start to kind of build floor on top of floor, we know that it's gonna last and it's gonna be sustainable and it's gonna be something that scales in a way that I think none of us even can imagine. Even you, Derek, even with your vision as big as it is, I don't think we any of us are capable of thinking about the levels that this can go, given what the product is.
So when I tell you that I think I have $1 trillion idea, you think I'm not dreaming big enough?
No, I think you're being cheap.
And that's why he got the job, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, exactly. I was going to say.
So sticking with this topic, and Dario, I just want to throw something at you real quick.
Yeah.
In this fall and spring of 2022 and the spring of 2023, the pro season, what are you most excited about?
I mean, listen, we have new teams, so that brings new talent, new excitement. We have people from all over the country excited about Las Vegas and Reno football, that so much so that they're leaving jobs and their hometown city to come play football in Nevada. Right. So I'm excited as heck to see these national talents, bringing their skill set to Nevada. And I'm also excited about seeing the expansion of these teams, because it allows more players, from within the state of Nevada, neighboring states, who are very, very, very talented. They get showcased. Yeah, the TV ratings are going to be exciting. Yeah, the sponsorship dollars are going to be great. Yeah, some of the events that we're working on are going to be, I think, even bigger than what we've talked about. But I'm most excited about seeing these young men who are passionate about football, who care about playing football the right way, get their opportunity to be seen, to be felt, to be experienced in a way that no other league in the country, other than maybe the NFL and Division I college football, can give a player that kind of attention. And the other part too is I want to see, because I got to see kind of the playoff run with you guys, D, and I was really excited to know that there were players on the force, and we did a little bit of fundraising around that, and I got to see a little bit of the back of house in terms of all the logistics that had to happen to get everyone to the East Coast to play twice, and so I'm excited to see that operation scale, so that when Nevada is competing for the title, which I have no doubt one of our teams is going to be on that stage again, can we improve that operation? Can we travel better? Can we
Want to bring the A7FL to your town? Well, you're in luck. Between now and October 1st, we are still taking applications to buy a division in the American Sevens Football League. Join Columbus for our 2023 season now. For more information on it, go to a7fl.com/owners. That's a7fl.com/owners. Get your piece of the future of football and bring us to your town. Hey there, it's Matt Ryan. Are you enjoying this A7FL podcast? Well, I'm glad you are, because that means you can give us money. That's right, you can buy our merch right now at tinyurl.com/A7FL merch. That's tinyurl.com/A7FL merch. Up there right now, we have some Thick Boy season merchandise. We've got some Huss Huss shirts. And also, we've got some Corey Hammond-related merchandise coming soon. A Corey Hammond's t-shirt, hoodie, and a whole lot more. You can get all of them right now sent to you nice, comfy, and cozy at tinyurl.com/A7FL merch. And also, you can find it in the show notes. Now back to that podcast you like.
You make a bigger impact, from a social media perspective, from a TV perspective, from a performance on the field perspective in the moments that matter the most. That's what I'm most excited to see.
So what you're saying is, with your marketing prowess, you're going to find us somebody who's got a private jet to move these guys around, huh? Is that what I heard?
Hey, I've learned not to say no.
All right.
I mean, there are some limits, of course. There are some boundaries.
It's not only that.
As a young man, I should have said no more often. I would have been in trouble much, much longer.
Right.
But listen. The reality is, I think any brand who isn't interested in the A7FL doesn't have an understanding of what marketing is about. We have such deep credibility with that coveted age group, 18 to 34 men, right? Brands all over the country are figuring out how to access these young men, because they're influencers, they help shape culture, they help shape public opinion, they help brands be discovered. And we have a foothold in that age group. And not just people who watch, but how long they watch. And then when they're done watching, how much they rewatch. and then we're done rewatching how much they share and talk about it and post about it. And that's not something that is easily replicated, and you can't fake that. That is all organic to what we're doing at A7FL, in particular within Nevada. I can't speak for the other areas. I do know they have top-notch talent and growing. But what I've seen in here is that our stronghold with 18 to 34 men, and that includes men of color, that includes, Hispanic, that includes non-ethnic, that includes all social demographics, all socioeconomic demographics. That intersection and how that kind of plays out for brands and gives brands access to those young men who are influencers, that allows anything to be possible.
You kind of got me sitting over here speechless, because I'm just thinking about the impact that if once the message gets out, and obviously that's in our sponsorship deck, because we do have 2 times the viewership of 18 to 34 males and the A7FL than the NFL does. And the problem is the corporate sponsors don't have a direct line to us, or even know that we have a larger market share than the NFL does for that coveted demographic. Like, once that word gets out, that's a rocket ship for us, is what I'm
Absolutely.
hoping. So Dario, thank you for recounting that, because those are some of the things that I don't think about too much. Right? I'm
Right.
Long-term vision, seeing what's in front of my face, making moves, making sure I'm always going towards the end game. But Dario sees the path, and that's why we do so well together. So,
Right.
So Kelly, I want to ask. Oh, Kelly, Casey, did you have something else before I ask Kelly the same?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, Dario touched on maybe, the travel being a little better next year and all that. Let's not forget, Derek, you now have a travel agent at your discretion too.
That's
right
right.
here. So hopefully
Shameless
that
plug.
travel will be a lot smoother. So
Casey, drop your socials, man. If you got it up and
Yeah.
running, promote it, bro. Don't sell yourself short.
Yeah. I am a travel agent, Cox Clan Travel Agency on Facebook. And also I do have internet radio that I do. I am KHLC Internet Radio on YouTube as well. And my wife is actually in the process of working on some merch, and Derek, the first A7FL Nevada logo t-shirt should be a picture in your text message box within the next few days. She's
Wow.
actually getting ready to throw one on a t-shirt, sublimate it, see what it looks like, send it to you, see what you think, and then if it fits you, we may just send it to you and let you have it.
Casey, I'm not surprised that you have an internet radio show, because you have a face for radio for sure.
Absolutely. I hear that all the time.
Let me just say, Dario's shit talking game is next level. So
I do have a face for radio. I'm just saying.
You got the voice for it too.
and see, Dario, management 101, chop them down and then build them right back up.
Yep. There you go.
So Kelly, same question for you. What for the fall and spring upcoming seasons are you most excited about?
I'm excited to, of course, see the teams develop, see the growth overall, but I'm looking at it more as an individual level. I love to get to kind of know players, know coaches, know people at our facilities, and watch how those relationships grow. Seeing how a player changes over 1 to 2 seasons, I don't want to say maturity, because then it kind of implies that they're immature, but as they continue to grow within their craft, but also to grow within their character, to grow within their professionalism, to grow within their being mentored and becoming a mentor to the young eyes that are watching them. And that's not just as the players, that's coaches, it's us as division managers. So that growth I'm really excited for. I mean, I definitely know out of my time throughout football, some of the relationships I've developed and the people I've met, how different we all are from when, the very first time we might have looked at each other and said, oh, I don't like them, or, what have you, or we've just hit it off and it's been a great thing. But to see those relationships become part of these people's lives. And as whenever the day comes that they do transition out of A7, either to a professional football career in, let's say, USFL, NFL, whatever, or if they just kind of go to coach or they go to home to be a family person, to see that they're walking away from the A7 into whatever endeavor it is better than they came in. That's what I'm excited to see.
And you think that's going to happen in 22 and 23, huh?
Absolutely,
All
because
right, I love it.
I've already seen, even, just as we talk with the coaches, even sometimes on text messages, it's so two-dimensional. So we can kind of imply or think we know what they're talking about, but just seeing how the coaches interact, seeing how, talking to different players and how guys I've known for a long time are kind of hitting me up and their interest, how it's changing. I definitely see that happening. And I do see it kind of like, as Dario said, like it's very organic. It just happens. And so I kind of bring it down a level as we continue to let these guys and women that are involved in the leagues and what we do, let them grow. And I'm always amazed to see from day one until the end of seasons how much people change. But because the standards are so high here, because the amount of care that is actually put in, the investment of the ownership to the coaches, to the staff, into one another, and then into our players, it's genuine. And that makes the outcome different than, yes, whenever they do transition out, if it be next month or if it be 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, I definitely know that that's going to happen because I see it happening every day.
Yeah, you got a point. These guys most of the guys I know already have better jobs this year than they did last year, just because of some of the things that we talk about in their players meetings, and conversations that we have on Facebook Messenger. Hey, coach, I'm looking to get out of what I'm doing. I have a potential for doing videography. Can you set me up with somebody that can show me how to get into videography? And of course, we got our videography team. I'm like, look, come on inside, come upstairs, see how we're doing it during our games. See how one's being done bootstrap. Talk to our guy. Let him mentor you, and you guys connect up. I want to be an electrician was the call I got from somebody yesterday. I'm like, I know every electrician in Las Vegas. That's my day-to-day business. So that person's going to be electricianing by the end of this month. So you're absolutely right. We are helping young men at this point, and our young women staff members as well, grow for themselves and for their families inside and outside of football. So that's something obviously to be especially excited about. I tell everybody the best thing about the players in our game are the best thing about our league. We can do everything we want to development wise. We can do everything we want to with putting money into. We can create all these platforms but without those young men taking the field and giving it their all, we're nothing. So they are the best part of who we are.
Absolutely.
Well, and I think what's nice is that the environment, and this may be league wide. Again, I haven't really dealt with anybody else. I've only dealt with like 1 or 2 people outside of the Nevada division. But the fact that the environment that has been created is welcoming for change, and it's welcoming for personal growth, and that players feel comfortable to come to you. A lot of environments, especially in sports, players might not feel that comfort zone and that care. And I think that on my end, because I'm dealing sometimes with players and different things, that's a huge tool that I have, because not every environment is like that. So I really have to give kudos to you, because you definitely take a personal investment into these guys. And that's something they might not get anywhere else. And just that environment in itself is second to none. And it kind of like on the field, we have the non-padded tackle football, which isn't anywhere else. On the backside, you have an ownership and management team that will genuinely invest in the betterment of the individual. And you don't really get that anywhere else either.
Right on. That's
Right
awesome.
on. Absolutely. I was going to say,
we
go
lost
ahead.
Dario. I sent him a text. I didn't know if he had to bounce. He's got
Yeah,
a very busy.
he sent a message in chat and said he had to step out for a minute. So
okay, no sweat. All right, cool.
So
So
I was going to say, from an outsider perspective and from a fan perspective, even as more and more people start to get their eyes on this league and on this division, I think that's what's going to draw them to it, is because they're going to start to realize it's not only about the players being on the field and doing something, but they're also doing, I mean, we're helping them grow outside of football and helping them grow their families as well and support their families better as well. And not every football league out there is doing that or trying to do that. At least not in the public eye, they're not.
So, Casey, while we're on the topic, what are you most excited about for this coming season? And let's say from your perspective, not just the league.
Oh, just from my perspective, I'm excited to see the way Nevada grows. I'm excited to be, honestly, I love calling football, so I'm excited to be able to call 4 games next season, at least instead of 2. Be out there more, get more involved with it, get our teams out there more. I'm interested to see some of these new teams and their logos, their designs, so that my wife can start working on that as merchandise as well. Interested to see where her merchandise goes and how that helps grow as well.
That's awesome. So I guess since we're dropping bombs, I'll since we haven't dropped too many bombs, I'll take care of the 2 that we need to hit our 3 bomb quota. So number 1, I am doing everything under the sun within my power to get our video and on-screen graphics and broadcast situation together so that next season, if the opportunity for a 3rd game of the week comes on for what will be the 4:00 Pacific hour, that will always be from Las Vegas at wherever our stadium is. So that means, Casey,
let's go.
Right? so even, and the way I've structured it with the league is, even if we have the blessing of having Big Rob and Matt and Corey calling the game, that you and I will still be involved and potentially be the on-field reporter position, so we can take, the Aaron Andrews or Carissa Thompson or Booker McFarland on the field, interviewing players, giving player perspective, on-field perspective, and things of that nature. So we can have an even bigger broadcast. So it's kind of like a Sunday Night Football type feel, not just a regular broadcast game.
Let's go. I'm ready.
I know you are. So none of that's set in stone. It's just things that I'm pushing for, things that I'm asking for. The league has been open to the conversations and receptive. I feel like we're both working toward, us and the league are working toward that goal. So until, but nothing obviously is even close to being official. That is just a goal of mine. So that is, I guess, bomb number 1. Okay. Number 2 would be, if that does happen, we're going to have a lot more teams coming into Vegas to get on that 4:00 game time hour. So rather than just seeing, a Vegas team versus an LA team, or a Vegas team versus a Reno team, we might get some other. Obviously, everyone wants to see Force versus Chino Tribe rematch. I think there's.
I want to see that week 1.
Yeah, right?
I want that to be the week 1 opener.
Well, I think, and maybe this is another bomb. I think week 1 opener with the reworked Insomniacs and them grabbing at least 2 superstars from the East Coast, and the Insomniacs being a team that didn't get a single win last season. The league has actually asked me if I thought it would be a better idea for our game of the week, if we end up having it in that 4:00 hour, to make sure that it's Insomniacs versus Force. Force being the perennial champion of the league, and Insomniacs having these 2 new superstars and building their new squad going through a fall season, and Force not playing a fall season. Where will those 2 squads be week 1 when we kick off the spring?
That would be interesting. I'd be down with that too. Yeah.
That will definitely set the tone. I mean, I know, seeing what the teams are doing and seeing how they're working, and the hustle and drive that both teams, the Force and the Insomniacs, are putting in, that definitely will set the tone for an amazing season.
That's what's up.
Yeah. And I had said earlier, I talked to Corey Hammond on the phone. He dropped a little birdie in my ear, but I wanted to he said there might have been another East Coast guy coming West Coast, but he wasn't sure if he had made it official yet or not. So
the 2 that have made official announcements are Rashad Davis, formerly of the Tampa Bay Nightcrawlers. He last played A7FL in 2020, and self-proclaimed record holder for number of touchdowns in a game. There's some disputing of what that might have been. So, but the dude got 6 touchdowns in a game. Whether it's a record or not, it's damn good. So we'll take that.
Right. We'll take it all day.
And then his social media says the return single season record holder. Whether that's right or not, the fact that he had 8 return touchdowns in a season is pretty big. And then Mark Cooper, who was most recently on the Orlando Ghosts and is widely, looked at as the top 3 athlete in Florida football in the A7FL. So with both of those guys coming to play for the Insomniacs, there's 2 more guys that we've been in conversations with that have not committed, but said that they will likely come. But until that were to happen, we would never make that announcement or put them on blast like that. And just so we're all clear, the Nevada division is not marketing to any divisions outside of Las Vegas, asking guys to come our way.
No, they're asking to come here.
Yeah, but we have put it out there that we will facilitate and help them find jobs, help them find housing, and make sure we put them in the best situation for their life if they decide they do want to come out this way. And people will see Las Vegas as the land of opportunity. And as I've told everyone who listen, Las Vegas has become and cemented itself as the sports capital of the world. And we'll say sports and entertainment capital of the world.
Oh, yeah.
People say, well, you've only got, professional, you only got the NFL and NHL and WNBA. Like, you don't even have, NBA and Major League Baseball. And I tell them, yeah, but every place that doesn't have the most prize fights, UFC and boxing. They don't host 5 different division championships for NC2A college and football and basketball. Who else? What other city worldwide has that many max capacity sporting events going on in a week? It's only Vegas. I actually got quoted in the RJ, the Review Journal, our local newspaper. I actually went to a Raider game and then walked from Allegiant Stadium, which is to T-Mobile Arena, which is about a 2.5-3 mile walk once you go up and down all the stuff. And as I'm walking, I'm taking off my Raider jersey, even though I'm not a Raider fan, putting on my Golden Knights jersey, and a reporter saw me and he pulled me to the side. He's like, "Hey, did you attend both games?" I'm like, yeah. I actually had my kid brother at the first game. He took off and I'm walking over here to meet my wife for this game. And he's like, "Do you have season tickets for both?" I'm like, "No, I just happen to have tickets for both today, but we will have season tickets for virtually everything in town. And we got to manage this stuff. This is a lot of time management that needs to go on." Oh, by the way, we've got professional lacrosse. Who else has got that, right?
Yeah, right.
So, shout out to the Desert Dogs. Can't wait to see you guys in the field. So, Kelly, while we got you.
Yes.
Women's football.
Women's football is amazing.
Right?
I cannot tell you enough about the ladies who play football. And I will hands down say that there are many of them that I would be glad to put up against certain men's teams.
Whoa.
Oh, yes.
Hello.
These girls, I mean, I'll say this. They show up to practice, they pay their team fees, they hustle for their team, they're there for each other. On a team of 50, you usually have 35 to 40 at minimum at practice. And I mean, I was astounded when I went to my first practice with the LA Warriors. I mean, I can't say enough about these ladies and the things that they do in the community for all athletes, but also to welcome in girls into football, girls into other sports. I attended Gridiron Girls. Dr. Jen Welter put it on. She brought in a lot of NFL guys. The Warriors were there with the girls. I mean, and it was amazing to see the young ladies, the little girls attending, their eyes light up as they see these women strap on these pads and helmets and really duke it out. I mean, I cannot say enough about what they do and their heart.
So
Absolutely.
that is a perfect introduction and a push into my segue of, do you think the women that you have seen and have been involved with would be interested in playing our brand of football in a women's league?
I think without a doubt they would. I mean, I had many of my girls from the Warriors. They had we played in opposite seasons, and they were asking, hey, can we come join your league? Like, they love football. They'll play flag, some of the girls play tackle, and then they also play the lingerie league. I don't know why it would not be equally, if not more successful than the men's teams. I definitely see a market for it, and the women who are out there playing tackle ball, they love it. They live for it. It's like I say, they're a whole different beast, and I say beast in the most respectful and loving way. These girls are amazing.
So while we're sitting here talking about it, let's just crystal ball, money's no limit. What do you think it would take to form a league in Las Vegas or in Nevada that had enough women in it to put on an actual season?
I really think it would be, I mean, it's going to take time. It's going to take time getting them out, to maybe bringing them out in fall and letting them see what we do, actually taking time for the personal. I think it's going to take time more than money. It's going to take time more than anything. But I think once they see it, they're going to live for it. It's going to be a whole different thing, especially if we play opposite the seasons they play. I think it's just, it'll organically happen once they have the proper introduction. And I think that without a doubt, a league, I wouldn't even doubt that some of the girls would like it more than they like what they play with tackle.
I was going to say, if I'm not mistaken, we've kind of already gotten some of those women's leagues eyes onto our league last season. I believe we had some guests from the lingerie league out at some of our games there in Vegas last season.
Oh, definitely. My good friend, the Vegas girl, who's one of the social media influencers who we invited out to the game, brought her friend with her. I said, look, bring whoever you want. We'll set you up, give you whatever you need for the day. And one of the people that she brought with her was her dear friend who played in the lingerie league. And I learned that day that was a Vegas centric league, that all the games were played in Vegas. And I had heard about it. The only time I saw it was during the Super Bowl. I guess they had a place where you could pop over on a halftime and check it out. And I was at a football party and people were switching over and checking it out. And it looked like really good football. I didn't understand why they were in lingerie, because it looked like it would hurt when they get tackled. And I understand the appeal of them being in lingerie, but you couldn't see much of anything that the lingerie would reveal. So it seemed like a waste to me. Like, they should protect these girls a little better anyway. But it was very exciting, and I enjoyed what I saw. But I had no idea that the entire league was being played and built around Las Vegas. So unfortunately, I guess I had not expanded my horizons enough to allow that into my life. Now's a different time. I think if someone told me that there were women playing football right now, I'd say, of course, I'm at the game. What are you talking about? So,
well,
and while we're on,
there's a huge difference between what the lingerie girls do and then also the women tackle leagues. Although lingerie does play tackle, they definitely, I'm not taking, and a lot of the girls that play the lingerie leagues, they are actual, like I say, my coach, my last season of the Sharks was actually my quarterback on the Warriors. And I mean, these girls, you would never guess that they had not played in, I mean, I obviously don't want to say the NFL, but I mean, some of these women, some of my guys were afraid of them because the way that they played ball. And I would have my guys go out and do canes and do different things, and the coaches would kind of cross over. But seeing the tackle leagues, oh wow, yeah, it's. I definitely think we could do something with the ladies that would grow without much effort.
Oh yeah,
for me,
and football with the ladies seems to be becoming more and more popular anyway. Kind of while we're on the subject, there was a story back home from where I'm from, close to where I was living in Oklahoma. I lived in Seminole. There's a small school there, Wawoka, and their high school football team was on the verge of having to forfeit a high school football game because they didn't have enough players. And 2 senior high school girls stepped up, put on pads and helmets, actually played the game on special teams and on offense and defense, and helped the team actually not only not forfeit the game, but win the game as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, and that's small town Oklahoma. You're talking like class A, class 2A, little itty bitty small high school ball. and 2 high school senior girls said, you know what, we'll strap on them pads and helmets and we'll go out there with the boys. And they went out there and played with the boys, got hit like the boys, and helped their team to a victory. So
that sounds like a damn good movie, or at minimum a lifetime after school special of some sort.
Well, and you got to figure Dr. Welter, she played, I believe, on a men's team in Texas. There's a couple ladies that have played on semi-pro leagues on men's teams in Los Angeles. So the crossover has definitely happened, and the ladies being able to branch out and kind of have their own thing, and the fact that it's been accepted and it's growing. And I mean, it's another area of football that is really growing leaps and bounds. But I really see that, if that's a vision that we could put on our vision board, I definitely think that we're going to find a group of people that are very much interested.
Yeah, put it up there, because one of the things that I'm
exactly.
working on in the background is, well, and maybe I don't even know if it's the background. I think I announced this before. So our partnership with CSN, the College of Southern Nevada here, we're one of their major athletic boosters. And one of the things that they have been authorized to do is to develop a 7-on-7 women's scholarship flag football team for their JUCO. What it's going to take to fund that is a $2 million endowment that will put that into a deposit, and they can just build off the interest and give the ladies scholarships based on the interest alone, develop the field, and give them a place to play with that $2 million endowment. So I've challenged the Las Vegas Raiders to be the group that does that, and kind of hoping that they come back with something positive, or at least a portion, and then we can fundraise the rest. But women's football is so on our radar that I'm trying to personally figure out a way to fund through our contacts the college sponsored college scholarship version of flag football, so that they can then develop into professional football players, hopefully down the road, as flag football starts to develop its national prominence and has some professional leagues that are developing.
And I'll just throw this out there. Women's football sounds like it would be, and looks like it would be interesting to call as well. So,
yeah, I mean, so women's sports, let me just say, basketball, a little different, because the talent disparity in basketball still seems to be so great that it's noticeable on the court when you have people like Asia Wilson who ball like you're expecting other people to ball, but the other people on her team don't look like that same way. There's a little bit of disparity that you see still physically on the court. I don't see that in football or soccer or lacrosse or softball, for that matter. I don't know why it shows up like that for me in basketball, but on every other sport, every other major sport, I don't seem to see that same. And I guess that speaks to just how crazy talented the sport of basketball and the men that play in the NBA actually are, because that's, you see that and it becomes commonplace to you. And when you see another professional, it doesn't look like that. It's noticeable. Right. I mean, they're just that good, I guess, is the easiest way to put it. But so yeah, gosh, I feel like I left us on an island. Casey, do you have anything else hanging out there that we were supposed to talk about today? Because I got one other thing, since we've got a couple more minutes before we've already rounded out the hour.
I was just going through your notes to see if there was anything we missed, and not really anything that I think that we missed that we need to touch on.
All right. Well, then I just want to talk about quickly the amount of conversation on the 301 podcast that's happening about Nevada now. So
yeah,
Casey,
absolutely.
Casey, Kelly, we've done our job. We put this podcast together to get them to be thinking about and talking about us, and it is working. So
it is.
I just want to send a quick shout out to Casey and Big Rob and Matt Ryan, and put my vote out there. Put the hashtag for me, it's Thick Boy Season. That's the one that I choose. I actually bought 3 shirts, 1 for my wife, 2 for myself, and wore it to a UNLV football game the other day. And I had people coming up to me telling me they needed that shirt. So telling you guys, get your A7FL merch and wear it proudly, because people are looking for it.
Right.
So I have a question for you, Derek.
Okay,
if I may ask.
Why not?
Asked us, what are we looking most forward to in the fall and the spring?
Absolutely.
What are you looking most forward to as kind of the captain of the ship? What is most exciting for you? What are you looking most forward to for the next year?
He's
All
the
right, so-
pilot of the 747. Let's get it right there. This is a 747 and he's flying the plane.
All right. It's a 7v7, whatever that is.
Mm.
So the answer for me is super easy. The weekend of February 5th, Pro Bowl weekend, we are driving towards hosting what will be a division versus division all-star football tournament held in Bullhead City, Arizona, where Kelly has a spot she likes to hang at the Anderson Automotive Arena, if everything goes off the way we want, on Pro Bowl weekend, which will be held in Las Vegas, Nevada. So if everything goes right and all the cards fall exactly where they need to, all the chips fall exactly where they need to, we will be hosting a live televised event on hopefully some crazy major network that they drop loads of money on, that will get us to fund our division and potentially our overall league, and showcase for a weekend during the Pro Bowl weekend the talents of our best players from each division. So the way I've structured it is an 8-team playoff style bracket weekend, similar to the first round of March Madness, right, with the round of 64, but down to 8. And so the top 20 players from Nevada, the top 20 players from LA, the top 20 players from Baltimore, from New Jersey, from Florida, from DC, from the existing A7FL leagues before the expansion this season. Those 8 divisions will send the best of the best 20. They'll descend on Vegas, drive out to Laughlin, stay in the hotels in Laughlin, go over, take water taxis over to the arena, and then put on an absolute show with their best ballers and around the fans. And we're going to put on concerts with A-list performers before or after the football. So I am ultra excited about seeing that whole thing come together, because once that does, we are the map. We don't need to put ourselves on the map. The map, we will be the map that everyone else is trying to get on.
Absolutely. I'm all for it. I'm excited.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
hopefully you feel my goosebumps, because I still got them.
Yeah.
I've told that story 20 times and I still get goosebumps.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Kelly, Casey, you guys, everything else before we wrap for the evening?
No, I'm just excited for what the next season holds, even the fall season, to see some of the new players and the new talent that come out in the fall to kind of learn the style of football and get familiar with the teams, and then how that talent transitions over into 2023, and to see how all that new talent and existing talent combine just makes our division that much better and that much stronger.
Yeah, we're all excited for that, and thank you for saying so. This is going to be a fantastic fall. We didn't get to have a fall season last year, so really excited to see that come together. Excited to see the new coaches really grab hold of what the potential is, and they're asking all the right questions privately and publicly, and things are coming together the right way. So super excited about that.
I think the only thing I want to add is, I'm so thankful for the opportunities, like kind of obviously on behalf of myself, but also all of the people involved. It's amazing. Each day, each week, each month, we're getting better. So the vision of what you've put together, the league has put together, the best way I would kind of wrap up everything is I'm so grateful.
I'm grateful for you. You are part of this family, and glad to have you on board. I can't believe we did the entire last season without you. I don't know how we got through.
Right.
With you on board, I just know it's going to be twice as good, and super excited about that. And as Casey and I get better at our jobs, you're already good at yours. We're gonna rock. We're gonna rock this shit. Is where we're at.
Right. Right.
All right, Casey, you want to take us out, or you
yeah?
got something else?
So I'll go ahead and take us out. Thank you guys tonight for joining us. Thank you, Kelly, for coming on and giving us a piece of your time, and a little bit of your insight on what you're doing with the division as well. For me, I'm Casey Cox. He is Derek Duncan, Double D, the division owner of Nevada, the man that makes all this possible. And for that, until next time, we'll see you on the other side of the ball.
And big thanks to Dario for sitting in with us as well. You guys have a great night.
Bye.
Night.
All right. So it's going to continue recording. I'll tell Matt that he needs to chop it off at the end, but I just want to say thank you to both of you guys. Great job, Kelly.
Thank
Great
you.
having you on.
Thank you. Awesome to
I'm
be
sure
here.
I'll be talking to you 10,000 times between now and the next time. So
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Or if not, you get 10,000 messages from me. But nonetheless, no, I really appreciate it. I think it was awesome. And Casey, it was good to meet you, even though it was via Zoom. But I know we'll definitely be working together a million times in the future. So thanks so much
absolutely.
for having me on.
No, thank you for coming on, and it was great to meet you too.
all right, guys, have a great night.
You too. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.